using the cocaine at all if I wasn't around.
I mean, I'm doing this because I love him and I want him to get better. And I'm an addict too. I mean, I'm just not doing it for him. I'm an addict too. And that would be the worst if we got divorced after all this. Yeah, so
And they tell us they have just enough hope left to dream about a life like the one you have.
Well, we'd be at a home down the shore. Our backyard would be the ocean. We'd both be clean. I just want us to have a normal life.
But in the years since we've seen them, we heard that there was a fight. He punched out some of her front teeth. Then the two disappeared. We still keep thinking of one of the last things she said.
There's just this little spirit inside of me that just tells me that everything's gonna be all right.
Tonight, the women are working in staggering numbers, tens and tens of thousands of them. Women in expensive clothes, women in legal brothels, and at the truck stops where sex is sold for $10. And what do they tell you about what it's like to be here?
You're just so ashamed of yourself.
It's like a tattoo. It'll never go away. You might get it lasered off, but there's always going to be traces of it there.
We've learned that 60 to 90% of female prostitutes were abused. Many have been homeless, virtually all of them in danger.
There's been studies about mortality rates of women in the sex industry. The range is as high as up to 120 times more likely to be murdered.
Nick Kristof reports about trafficking for the New York Times. Do you think America is in denial about the amount of it?
I think we're in denial, and I think one reason for that denial is that overwhelmingly the victims are poor.
But we have also learned that a girl next door, a college student, can be lured into prostitution in small increments by a pimp who pretends to be a boyfriend.
It's as if they're training you like a dog.
And yet in America, the women go to jail while pimps and traffickers often escape. So do the clients.
It's something I can't explain. I wish I could, all right? I'm always scared to death I'm going to lose my girlfriend.
You will meet the legal prostitutes in the brothels.
He told me that, you know, I could make a good living out here.
And before you make up your mind, hear from a woman who says she chooses a handful of clients herself, who pay her hundreds of thousands of dollars. For her, it is liberation.
I don't believe it.
Well, if I'm unhappy, I stop.
Her challenge, ask yourself what you do for money.
Which is worse, what you do or marrying someone for their money?
Tonight, the reality of women and prostitution in America.
Good evening again. I'm Diane Sawyer. And as we said, it was 2 years ago that we began traveling the country to take a look at the real dimensions of prostitution in America, the numbers and the human beings involved. And when the news broke about Governor Spitzer of New York, it catapulted questions into the news about the differences between women in the high end of the business and the low, legal brothels to the streets, and what it really is to call this kind of sex consensual. Another warning, now that it's later in the evening, some of the material is more graphic. And on this Good Friday, when many of us are pondering questions of blame and choice and redemption, we begin by looking more closely at what the women actually do every day and what that means for body and soul.
2 years ago, outside Philadelphia, we climb aboard a local health outreach van which offers food, clothing, condoms, and HIV testing to street prostitutes. The ones who live in that barely visible underworld.
One guy wanted me to spit in a jar, and he would drink it. The more spit in a jar, the more money I would get.
There's always danger every time you get into a car. You get raped, you get killed, you have all different types of people out here.
It is still early morning, a weekday. We're surprised to see the girls are already out, that business is already booming.
So this is a good time of day. I'm still stunned. Here it is, a weekday.
One girl, before she talks to us, vanishes toward the car around the corner. Her name is Skylar. She's going to see a regular. She'll be back to meet with us in a moment, but this is her friend Jessica.
Is that one of her regulars? Yeah. So, want to come on in and talk?
Jessica is age 24 from Tennessee. She says she started with marijuana young, then moved on to other drugs. She, her husband, and her heroin habit came to Philadelphia, and she says she made a promise to herself about prostitution.
And of course, I was, oh, I'll never end up on Broadway. I'll never be on Broadway. Not me. Took about a week.
The husband left. The addiction did not. It requires about $250 a day, which she earns on the most dangerous street in town.
Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, I got robbed at gunpoint, beaten in the head with a gun. I've been stabbed.
Stabbed? Oh, God.
Well, I was 127 stitches. That was about 5 months ago.
She says she has 3 to 4 clients a day. Mostly, she says, they ask for oral sex with the occasional twisted specialty.
But when I first started working out here, he used to come up all the time and ask the girls if they'd step on a baby kitten for him while he off. I hate myself every day for doing this. But once you're in it, it's a lot harder to get out of than you would think.
Could you go back home, live with your grandmother?
I can't go down there like this. And I've put her through so much stuff. I'm sorry.
What's the hardest part physically?
The hardest part? Having to be me when it's all done.
At this point, her friend Skylar comes back. She is 25, another heroin addict. She made a few bucks while we were waiting.
How much money did you make?
$20. I was only gone, what, 4 minutes? So, it's not too bad.
It was oral sex.
And then he's gone?
Yeah.
So, what do you think about when you're doing this?
I just count. While I'm doing it, I count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I don't know why, but it's just, I got something to refocus my attention.
And we learned that even the girls on the toughest streets still try to hold on to some border, some boundary just for themselves.
I won't have sex for money.
Never? No
Never.
matter what they offer?
I never have. I never have, I never will. You know, I told myself I'll never do heroin, I'll never give somebody a I did all of it, But the one thing that I won't cross, that one line I will not cross, I will not get on my back for money. I hate sex. The thought of it makes me want to throw up.
Because?
I never, while I was growing up, said, gee, when I grow up, I want to stick myself with a needle and for money. You know?
She told us something so horrible, so traumatizing happened to her as a child, she can't even talk about it.
What is the answer for you?
I don't know. I think it may be death.
She tells us, by the way, that she's a college graduate. She studied music.
I majored in fine arts, theater. I sing opera. So,
you do?
Yes, I do.
What will it take for you to change the life that you can change?
I don't know. Maybe watching this when it airs. There's one of my regulars.
In that car?
Yep.
Who is he? What is he?
His name is Jim. It's him right there. It's a $40 date.
Before she goes back to work, a request.
Would you sing something for me?
Sure. How about something from the Phantom of the Opera?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Nighttime sharpens, heightens each sensation. Darkness stirs and wakes imagination. Silently the senses abandon their defenses.
It's beautiful.
Thanks.
Really beautiful.
Ashley Dupre, the pulp fiction name in the headlines, with the former governor of New York, who was billed by the agency a difficult client. Her real age, 22 years old, though the escort website said she was a 24-year-old patron of fine wines. She was also billed on the site as a successful swimsuit model, but in fact, she was an aspiring singer and cocktail waitress. Was she another girl enticed by the pretty woman fantasy? The cultural conspiracy to make a little prostitution seem like an adventure? Or was there serious sexual abuse in her past? Former prostitute